Hello, good evening. It's Friday night. Ask Tessa a question night. So I didn't get any questions. I asked everybody to give me a question, and nobody gave me a question. But I have a surprise for everybody. So there you go. Check this out. Check my hair. I got it cut today. I went and I got it cut. He came and he cut my hair for me today. Isn't that nice? He came to the house and did a cut. So it's so freeing. I'm so happy. Hi, Frushan. Hi, everybody. So it's Ask a Question Night. I'm waiting, Gavin, you're here. Frushan, you're here. Question Night. I'm waiting to see what your questions are going to be. If you don't have a question, you have to listen to me babble for 25 minutes or so. And so, thank you. I love it. I love it. I am so free. I can get up and just go, wow, my hair is just back to normal. Thanks, COVID. And it's a good thing I did it too, because very soon he has to close his shop. So he was happy to get me my cut, come here and cut my hair. So it was quite an afternoon, and it's all done. So it's Friday night. It's the night that we ask questions. Ask me a question. It could be anything. It could be a question about life, finance, dancing, not dancing. It could be a question about what would you do if you were placed in this situation. What would you do if somebody wanted you to do that? How to maintain your positive attitude? Okay. How do you maintain your positive attitude? How do I maintain my positive attitude? I maintain my positive attitude by being grateful each day. I wake up every morning and I am extremely grateful as I wake up. I am grateful that when I turn to get off the bed, I am not aching and picking and cannot do it and need help. So I'm grateful for that. So I start my day with the first thing of gratitude. Then as soon as I put my feet on the floor, I am so grateful I can feel the floor beneath my feet. So I maintain my positive attitude by being grateful. From the time I wake up and even until I go to bed, I fall asleep being grateful. I'm grateful that I was blessed with the opportunity to come here in the morning and do this morning blessing. I think it's a privilege. I'm grateful I lived to be alive in this time of all this technology and social media, because I love it. I'm really, really grateful that I can do it. I'm grateful that I can take words and put them together in a sentence. I am grateful that when I push a button, something happens. I am grateful that when I turn on the kettle, it comes on. I am grateful for the big, amazing things. When you look at my vacation pictures, because I use them a lot, and you see sometimes that someone takes a picture of me just standing there, that's because I'm thinking of how blessed and grateful I am that I'm in that place. And if you know me closely, you will notice that maybe, hi Corinne, I am in prayer of gratitude, because to come all the way, it's thousands and thousands of miles from North America to end up in those countries, and to be able to stand on a mountain that you only read about as a schoolgirl. So to be in Peru, go up Machu Picchu, and then get to the point where I had to take 4 days for us to get to the top. The real top was a 4-day hike, and so many people did not make it. They couldn't make it, and I was able to make it, knowing fully well that I was older than all of them. So when I got there, I could feel the air was thinner, of course, as you're going. And it was amazing, because I realized I made it. I wasn't sick. I didn't get a headache. I did what I had to do. I knew I wanted to do it. It was a dream of mine, a goal of mine. I don't call it a bucket list, because my bucket would have to be too big. So it was something I wanted to accomplish. And there were stages where you could go. So I went up to the top. I never had to crawl with my hands. I was able to enjoy it. And I think one of the things that helped me to enjoy it even more was being able to relax and breathe in. So Corinne, I promised you a surprise tonight. I hope you saw the surprise. I had the barber come to the house, mask on, and give me a haircut. I was so tired of this COVID hair, so I got that done. So I hope you noticed that. That's my surprise for you, and I hope you like it. I'm sure you're going to say something. Yes. So to maintain my positive attitude, I am grateful in the moment. I'm grateful when I see you guys here, when you come and you join us and you're here with me. Hi Angela. So keeping my positive attitude is being grateful. Grateful in every moment of the day. I am grateful when I sit to have my meal. I am grateful, as I said, when I travel, and I mean, when I went up the Alps, I was so in awe. I was grateful, and I shared with some of my family and friends that I felt like the engineering that was put into the mountain in the Alps to get me and all the other millions of people to go up to that mountain. When I felt I looked at it, I said, "Oh my God! It looks as if they molested the mountain." Because they pushed all these big pieces of iron and steel into the mountain walls, so that this thing can go straight up to. So when we went from Geneva to from Switzerland to France, from France to Italy, traveling like that, I was happy, but because I am in gratitude, I also felt the pain of the mountain. I also felt that we are destroying that mountain. Those mountains, the Alps. And then when we went to the top of the mountain, right up to the top there, and you're looking down. I asked the man. I said, I remember there's so much more snow, on Mont Blanc. He said yes. He said the snow is melting a lot because of us being here all the time, and that was something. Don, I hope you like the new haircut, and that was something that really bothered me. Although I was privileged and proud and happy and very grateful to have been up in the Alps and doing all these things, I felt like we ripped the mountain so I could enjoy it. So that was hard for me, but I still took gratitude in the engineering and the minds that put this together. Then I look at the creation of the mountains, and that really got me into a point of tears. And I'm grateful for those things. I am grateful for when I come on here and like my sister, my friend, my nephew, my movement makers, people come. You guys don't know what that means to me. And that's why when you are doing something, I jump in. I don't care what you're talking about. I always find something to make me laugh. So another thing, like the question was, what gives you that attitude? And that is what gives it to me, that positive attitude, is always finding something that somebody is doing that you can see something good in it. Another thing that gives me my positive attitude, I choose not to gossip. I choose not to gossip at all. And that is a choice I've made. So it's no point you ask me what is going on. If this person is telling me a tale, I'll just kind of, if we are face to face, I give you this blank look. And a simple word, one of my brothers said, the thing he loves to hear me say the most is when I say, no, just no, don't go there. No, just don't do it. So my shortest form is no. So these are the things that keep me great. I look for the simple things. I look for the child that smiles. I look for all the little things. When you're as old as I am and you get up in the morning and everything is working, man, that's a great feeling to be gratitude for, to be grateful for. You stretch, you do your stretching exercises. You do things, you get ready, you put your whatever on, you get ready and you're sitting here and people are coming to hear you talk. So yes, I am grateful every day for every minute, and I don't gossip. I stay in consciousness. I love everything I do. I am grateful for the things that will come to me. I'm grateful for the people and the things and the occasions in my life. I'm grateful for the kind of parents I had. I'm grateful for the siblings, so many siblings. I am grateful. I have six brothers, and and 2 sisters, and they're still adopted ones. So I'm grateful for that, because at any one time, somebody's on the phone, a cousin, a sister, a nephew, a niece, and we all have this communication. I live in an area of fantastic neighbors. If in case my light in my garage is left on, my neighbor will phone me and say, your light is on. If I forget to close the garage door, she'll say, your garage door is open. And one night they came and they closed the garage door. And it's only when I heard the door going, I realized my neighbors were in the back turning on the switch. So there's a lot for me to be grateful for. I am grateful because I can sometimes, when you stay still, I can not feel my heartbeat. I can hear my heartbeat. and I can feel my breath. So this is the opposite, right? So you can put yourself in there. And so there's so much to be grateful for. I'm grateful when I hear people talk about their children and their grandchildren. I'm grateful I can hear their stories. So yes, to keep my positive attitude, I'm grateful. And so if you have another question, I answered it as much as I could. I am grateful when, as I said, when you see me in silence on a travel, like when I went to India and I went into the Taj Mahal, and everybody believes the Taj Mahal has stuff inside of it. The only thing inside this grand, big, huge building is two tombs, two coffins. The coffin of the wife and his coffin. That's all. And it's made out of marble. And the people that carved those flowers into the walls, when they were done, they cut their hands off. So they will not replicate it anywhere else. So when you go to places, it's not as a tourist, but go to take in the juice of the place. And I will see me standing there pensive. But I am grateful that I can experience it. I read about it, I heard about it, and I can experience it. And so since you guys haven't sent another question, come on, Susie, come on. Angela, Corinne, don't you have a question? Don't you want to know something about me you don't know yet? So I will just talk about maybe reading. That is a passion, and the reason why I read and what caused me to read. I cannot lay my hands on them, but one of the things we did a lot in the family I was brought up in is reading, and it was just because of my dad was a huge reader, and he encouraged us to read. His excuse for making us read was telling us that every time we read a book, we are going on the adventure with that person. We're going where they went. Because the book tells you, they'll tell you in the book what they're doing or what the characters in the book are doing. And it's really their story. So he said, it's although they have people performing these things, it's the author that's telling the story. So where that author's mind went, that is where, it goes. That's where your mind goes. And you have those similar experiences. And he tells you that if you read and you learn one new word a day, and the meaning of the word one new word a day, then you will get all the education you're looking for, because it gives you more to speak about. So that's why I read from, not 7 books in a week. I read from one book every day for 40 minutes. And I read with a highlighter. So all of my books are highlighted. When I find something that's intriguing, I highlight it, and then I put the page and the paragraph in something else if I need to reference it. And that's how I read, and that's how I ask people to read. Because, and anything you write, if you're putting things on paper or even in your phone on a message or your notes or whatever, always date it. Date it. And it's really good to say where you are, what you're doing at this time. Describe the situation in your life at that time. So if you're writing something and in your journal, it's a journal, not the gratitude journal, your regular journal, you can say, today, I'm sitting quietly, it's sunny outside, the breeze is blowing, I can hear the birds. It's 10:15 on the morning of August 12th. And this is what I'm thinking about, or this is what is going through my mind. No, that may seem silly, but once you start doing that, you're opening your senses for more things to come in. Now, 1 year later, you go back to that journal and you will smile, because you will have seen your journey as you're going. Remember the word journal, journey? That's the purpose. This is my journey. I am journaling my journey. I'm writing the history of my trip, that where you are. Life, as I said, is a journey. And when you in that journal, you can talk about the people in your life. You can put, if you look at an old journal from the people who really wrote journals, in the past century, when these women and men wrote in a journal and they had something, they would bracket it. Rather than say the person was really, really bad, they bracket it. So that told me they didn't want to carry the energy of that negative energy of that person through their life. So they would mention the name and they would say, well, it was quite something to deal with this person. And that is bracketed. So then you knew it wasn't the best situation. And that was how they wrote in their journal. But the journals tell you their life story. It will tell you how they were feeling, what was going on. I read a journal of an old friend. She gave it to me. And I often wondered why she named her daughter Velvet. And in the journal, she said to me, she said, I am naming you Velvet because while I'm sitting here being pregnant with you, the snow is falling and it looks like velvet falling from the sky. When you have a piece of velvet and you just let it drip. And I gave the book to her daughter. She gave it to me because a lot of it was about us. And when I read it, I said, Velvet, you need to take this book your mom left for me. You should have it. And she said, why? I said, you have to read this. And she took it. So this is what your journal can do. I know we're all busy, but those of you with young children and you have them to write something in your journal, a special journal. You don't have to do it every day, but every time you write it, you date it. You put the time. You put what is 2020? That was the year that should not have been, but it was. What are you going to say about 2020? What came out of 2020? What are you going to tell the children that are too small who are alive in 2020 but don't know what's going on in 2020? What are you going to say to them? What will they remember? How will they remember? How will they remember the lockdowns? They need to know. It's history. It's our history. So that's what your journal does. Your journal tells you the history that you are experiencing at the time. The date will tell you. I have a book, I mentioned it before, that I write those type of things in, and I have several. I just loaded them. And I can go back at any one time and look and then open it just for the fun of it and think of, that's what you were thinking. So maybe you were up at the cottage and you were having your feet in the water, or you were watching, some of your brothers or family doing other things, and you remember statements like, I'm writing a book about my mom because she was phenomenal. And I remember we were up north and my sister and her husband was visiting and they had a bonfire going, whatever that was. And my dad said to him that, no, my sister said, what are you planning to do? Burn the house down? And then my dad piped him and said, oh, you don't, Edward, don't let her talk to you like that. You see me, I'm the head of my house and I say what I want, and he's talking like this to Edward. And my mom just looked at him and she said, I agree with you, darling. You are the head of the house, but I am the neck. And without the neck, the head cannot move. And that kind of calmed him down. So these are the things I remember. And I wrote it down and I came across it the other day and I was laughing at it. So these are the type of things journaling does. And it's important to journal. It's very important to tell your story. And you don't have to hurry it. It's best you write 6 words, but don't hurry it. Don't read it, so don't write it so someone else is not able to read it. So your journal is your history. You don't have to make a lot about the negative things. As I said, you bracket it because that is not what you want to take with you on further into your journal. So when it was a bad experience today, had this experience with cousin Joan, Uncle Ned, this one, that, and you put it in a bracket. If you really think it's so important that you want to take it through, then you do. But the older journals, you'll notice that what they'll write about. And they will describe what the room is like. They'll talk about the weather for that day. And that helps you because it pushes your imagination to see the little things. If it was Mother's Day, I was looking at my journal and I came across a Mother's Day morning. And my eldest daughter came and she was bringing a tray with orange juice and toast. She was maybe 7, and toast and something else and jam. And I noticed the toast had a big bite out of it. And I looked at the glass and it was a little bit cloudy. And I said to her, where did you get the glass? She said, in the dishwasher. It was a dirty glass, but I drank my orange juice. And then I'm looking at my son and he's standing there, he's the youngest, and there's a big dab of peanut butter right on the tip of his nose because he was the one that bit into the peanut butter and toast. So I wrote about it in the book. And then later that day, they were giving me Mother's Day present. And when my son gave me my Mother's Day present, he gave me a little car with a little man sitting in it. And he said to me, "Oh, Mom, I bought that for you for Mother's Day, but I know you won't use it, so can you give it back to me?" So I said, "Sure." I said, "No, you're not getting it." I kept it, and I still have it. And every time he's a grown man, every time he comes around, I take it and I said, "You know what? I'm going to play with my toy." And he gets so angry. So that's what journaling will cause you to remember. I wrote it in the book. I kept the toy. I packaged it, put it aside, and I know he's feeling funny, but he's enjoying it. And that's what you have to do. So your gratitude journal is not the same as your regular journal. And when you go to the store to buy a journal, make it special. When you go to the store to get a journal for you to write your story in, about you, about your family, about what you're experiencing, make it special. Don't just go and pick up the first journal you find. Your journal has to be, if you're picking up, I'm trying to find a book. I'm in a room with 1,000 books, but I can't find a book. If you're going to pick up a journal, when you take this journal from the shelf, the first thing I always say is to touch it, feel it, bend the pages, open it, look at how the writing will be in there, and put it down. If it's not the right one, then take another one. Don't just pick the first book to journal in, because you're putting your best of you in there, and it should be in something you really like. It does not have to be the most expensive one, but it will call you. Journals have a habit of dropping in on you, and it will be like, "Hi." And when you pick it up and you hold it in your hand, that's the one for you. And that is how you choose a journal. You don't just pick it from the shelf. You caress your journal. And when you choose a pen to write in your journal, let the pen feel you and let you feel the pen. I like a heavy pen. So my favorite pens, when I get a Mont Blanc, but I love a heavy pen. And I like it with a nice point. So I hold it in my hand and I feel it. So these are the things you have to remember. When you're choosing something as simple as a journal, don't use a dollar store book. If they have one there, that's really nice, but don't take just an ordinary exercise book. Get one that when you touch it, like, you can feel the book and the book can feel you. Remember, this was alive. It comes from a tree. It has a story to tell. So energy is meeting energy. Make it count. Make it matter. So choose a journal that speaks to you. Choose a journal that you want to talk to. Get your pen. If you like a light pen, get a light pen. If you're like me and you love a pen that when you hold it, you feel like you've got it, then you get it. And that is one of the things that you have to do. So if you guys are not giving me questions, I'll keep talking about what I want. So I need some question here. So somebody give me a question. I've never begged for a question before. And tonight I'm asking you guys for a question. So if not, so when you're choosing your journal, make it special. Because it is holding your most important thoughts. When the pen, feel the weight of the pen. Make it work. And that's your journal. Now, your gratitude journal, you can do the same. What motivates you? I'm done. What motivates me? You guys motivate me. Each and every one of you motivates me. They say charity begins at home, but it doesn't end there, right? So, how you reward yourself after you achieve a goal? You guys, you kidding? You know how I reward myself? Oh my, this could take all night. When I achieve a goal, I will answer that in a minute, but I need to say how I motivate. I'm motivated by you. I'm motivated by each of you. I'm motivated when you know what motivates me is when I help somebody to succeed and they succeed. When I help a person to get out of debt, oh my God, it's like and I look at them, and you want to hug them, and you want to let them know this is so great. And because you remember the pain on their face when they were loaded with all that debt. And it wasn't, there's one, by the way, since we're talking about, there's only two good debt, right? Two good debts. As bad as they look, there's only twice you borrow money and it's good for you. When you borrow money, if you borrow money to educate yourself and you get educated, so that's good debt, because once you get the education, you can get a better job and you can pay off the debt. The other debt that is good is when you borrow money to buy a house, because once you buy that house, it will grow up in equity and leverage it, and you have it. And the mortgage will die. Mortgages have a lifespan because they give it to you for 20 years or whatever in increments of 5, and it dies. So it has a lifespan. But a credit card and a line of credit does not have a lifespan. They just recur. It's like you are the hamster on the wheel. More debt. So when the best debt you can have is the mortgage debt and education debt. They all die. If it takes you 50 years to pay your education debt, you're still going to pay it off. But if you keep borrowing on a credit card, you will die first before you pay off the credit card. So let's leave that alone. So yes. So what motivates me is seeing everybody I know succeed. Is seeing people younger than me succeed. Is seeing my friends who did not get the guidance I got as a young girl from the parents I grew up with, and see them succeed because they know now, and I say, you need to get rid of this debt, you need to pay off this mortgage, or you need to do that. And I love to see them succeed. So I reward myself? So I reward myself by taking care of me. I really, really take care of me. I am passionate about self-care. I never had to learn it. I think it was innate in me, and to the point where a lot of people tells me I'm a peacock. I love me. I love me a lot. I love taking care of me. I love eating well, eating properly. I love pretty things. And because of that, I'm great with money. I can make money, like, that way, do things, because I'm good at it. I look at it. I don't waste. I really don't waste. So if I'm having broccoli, I don't throw away the stalks. I peel the stalk off and I cut it up. That goes in the steamer first, and then the florets go in after. I grow my own vegetables. I harvest, I share with my friends and my neighbors. I love to give. I give more than I take. I give more of myself than I take, because I love seeing other people enjoy themselves. I will have a fine wine. I love good cheese. The more pungent, the nicer. I love fine things, and I think it's innate. It's just something. My father fed us good blue cheese. We had blue cheese, so blue cheese is nothing for me to eat. Triple squirm, I'll have it. I grew up with that. Like I said the other day, it was always. But my dad was a hard worker, so they work. I was a hard worker. They were smart workers. My parents were smart workers. They worked with their brain. They were wise, and they had a difference in them. So I reward myself by taking care of me. I always worked. When I was younger, I always knew what I wanted to be. And when I was younger, I always knew what this time of my life, what I wanted it to be like. I always knew that, and I planned that, and I have that. So it wasn't a life that was just dropped from the sky. I was conscious. And through all the ups and downs and turmoils you have, when you leave your parents' house, and it's different, and you have to do it on your own, I still held to my true core belief that I can always succeed at whatever I want. And the only thing that would prevent me from doing that is if I don't know what I want. And if I'm waiting for somebody else to tell me what I want or to point me to what I want. So that was very important to me. So I always knew the life I'm living now, I wanted to live it just like that. It was planned. It wasn't hit and miss. It was always a plan. So I always had a savings. And I told you guys, My first savings that I started as a young married woman at the age of 22 was saving $1.75 every week, $3.50 every 2 weeks. This is the root of the tree that I'm standing in right now. If I hadn't saved that simple amount and kept it automatic, there's a thing that calls the automatic millionaire. It's not a joke. You cannot trust yourself to pay yourself. The government does not trust you to pay them. They take the tax from your employer before you get paid. So that tells you, if they don't trust you to pay them, why are you trusting you to pay you? So the best way to do it is to go to the bank, and yes, they will take 50 cents every payday from your bank account and put it in a savings account for you. Because that 50 cents goes towards the mortgage they give to the person who just bought the house. The bank does not make money, print money. They take all of our savings, put it together, and they give it out in loans and mortgages and stuff for people. That's where it comes from. So yes, there is no shame. You go to the bank, and you don't have to go. You can do it online. And you ask them to take $1.75 every payday. $1, that's what I have. That's all we could afford. But every time I got a raise, I increased it. And my other philosophy was, I didn't use it last month. I didn't need it last month, so I don't need it this month. So the life I live now was planned. I reward myself by enjoying the things that I worked for, or I planned for. And you will never hear me say that I worked hard. I don't say that. I said I work with a plan. So if you're working with a plan, it doesn't seem hard because you know what the outcome is going to be. And hard is a hard word to say. And you notice if somebody's saying, I work hard for my money, their whole body gets into it. So I like traveling. My husband did too. So we planned this thing together. And it wasn't always easy. There wasn't always tons of money coming in, but we did it, and because we stayed on course. And when it was tough, we didn't cry about it. We would be grateful for what we did. And we shopped at all the cheapest stores in Canada. The cheaper ones, we went to them and shopped when we were younger, and we had to. And and that was just how it was. And my children did not get Nike Air. My son came home one day and asked me for a pair of Nike shoes, and he had a thing of Converse, which was not as famous as it is now. So I told him, give me that black marker, and I'll put Nike on it for you. And then I said to him, it's not the shoes that's going to make you a man. It's not the shoes that's going to make you put that ball in that net. It's not the shoes that's going to make you excel in science and math. So I don't care. You're not getting a pair of Nike. So he never got it. When he got it, he had to pay for it. So that was how it was. We cook all our meals from scratch. So I planned things, and don't tell me it was hard and difficult. It wasn't. It was a plan. And so that when we got older, we would have given them the life that they could do something with, and we would still be able to have a life we could enjoy. And that was how I do it. So I reward myself, as I said, by doing that. So somebody had a question about a family. What was the greatest thing you learned when you were a young mom? That they don't break. number one, babe, children don't break. Number one, children want honesty. Number one, there's always one way to tell a child no, that you're not going to spend money, or they cannot have something without making their life miserable. You have to give them a reason. And my dentist asked me that question. He said, I want to see when you write a book about how to raise children because of your kids. And one of the things is, I always told them the truth. I refused to lie to them. And I also told them, I don't want anybody, don't lie to me because I don't lie to you. The truth is, I am not spending money on this. There are other expenses that have to be done in this family. And buying you a $200 shoes is not going to make you any smarter than you are right now. So my kids knew the limit. I told them if they did bring home 50% in anything, that told me they were only putting 50% of themselves in school, and that was not acceptable. Because if I put 50% in this family, it wouldn't be as it is right now. So you choose. So, and then, being a black young man, he came to me and he said, no, he didn't call me. The school called me. Catholic school called me. And the nuns or the teacher, whatever she was, she said, Michael, we had a conversation about people getting arrested and stuff like that. And Michael walked off the class. I said, of course he would. So she said, and he said, and when he was leaving, he told me, if I get arrested, don't call my mother, leave me in jail. I am much safer if I stay in jail. And I said, yeah, he's safer. And I said, furthermore, why are you talking to my son about jail for? I didn't send him to school to go to jail. Why are you bringing up this conversation? So when there were times for me to stand up for them, I stood up for them. And when there were times they did stupid things, I told them they did stupid things. But if you ask them today, Michael thinks I was always on the teacher's side. Except one day he was in grade 10 or 11, and he took a cassette to school. And it was Tupac or Jupac, but some pack. Somebody swearing for weeks and days, and all I could hear, I would just close the bedroom door, I'm going down the hallway, and I can hear it coming from his room. I never said you cannot listen to that type of music, because I knew that would be a losing battle. He has friends. I have shrubs in the house. I have a garage. He can go in there, put those things, and on the way to his way to school, take it. His friends can meet him on the bus and give it to him. So that would have been a waste of energy on my part. So I didn't care. So when he was playing that type of music and all the swearing, I would slam the bedroom door as I'm going down the hallway, and I didn't say turn it off. I didn't care. So he took this cassette to school. They were going on a bus trip, and he gave it to the bus driver, who maybe was a lot less bright than he was. And the bus driver is playing this song on the bus, dugudum, whatever it was, and the swearing words. The teacher got up and confiscated the tape. When he was off the trip, he asked her for the tape, and she said to him she lost it. So when he came home, he told me the story, and I said, what did she say? She said she lost it. I said, oh yeah, okay. I called the school the next day. I was working downtown at the bank, and I went in and I asked for the teacher. So she comes at lunchtime and she said to me, I said, Michael told me of the incident on the school bus yesterday, on the school trip yesterday. Where's the cassette? I have it. I said, you said what? I have it. I said, why did you lie to my son? I said, I am teaching this boy to respect authority and don't tell lies, and you have the audacity to lie to him? I said, who gave you the right to do that? I said, you know, Mom, you had me. I was on your side all the way until you lied to him. Why didn't you take the tape and stamp your feet on it and crush it to smithereens and don't give it back to him? I was with you all the way. Instead, she wanted to discipline me on him listening to that type of music. I said, I don't know what kind of schooling you have, but I have common sense, and it tells me I cannot stop Michael from listening to this tape. I know I can't. So that's why I let him do his thing with it. Sooner or later, the cream must rise to the top. So, and when I went home, she said, oh, I'll give the tape to Vanessa. I said, no, you're not. I said, don't demoralize my son. You did not take the tape from Vanessa. You took it from Michael. You give it to Michael. This stupid woman put it in an envelope and taped it, and he brought it home and he gave it to me. I said, listen to me. I said, I thought you were smarter than that. I said, why are you so stupid that you would play a tape like that on a Catholic school bus? Come on, man. Where's your brain? And I said, just take your garbage away. And so that's one of the things I did. When they were wrong, I let them have it. But when the teachers stepped on their toes, I went after it. And I would just say, no, you did not take the tape from his sister. Give it to him. Don't take away his manhood. You will destroy him. And they knew I was coming. So when and I did not miss a parent-teacher night. We were like two little elves running around with these children. They gave you 10 minutes teacher conferences, and there was no space between you going up, down, or into the portable. So we had to do it, but we were there. And one teacher said, your children are doing really well. We don't need to interview you. Well, that just sent something up in my head. I said, you know what? You just came to the school. I don't know you. You have my child from 8 in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you don't want to talk to me, really? I said, no, I want to interview you. So they knew me, and I stood up for that. So this is how, as a young mom, I did what I had to do. I let them know what I expected of them. Like if you talk to Michael, Michael will tell you, or Jillian, they'll tell you, they don't know when the first time they heard that knowledge is power, the use of knowledge is even bigger power. And education is your passport into the future. Education opens the door. Education makes you equal. Education gives you a chance. When you get there, if you have that piece of paper, they might look at you. But if you don't have the piece of paper, you don't stand a chance. And you have to look for your children, people who have children growing up in this new world. You'll have to look at their peers and their competitors. Their peers and their competitors go to school 7 days a week, twice on Sundays. And you cannot afford to have your child go to school only 5 days a week. You have to give them the edge. You have to find out what it is that is giving a child an edge. A second language is a huge edge. Some skills, social skills, team sports. My father had 6 boys, and he said, when you're raising a son, you have to have your finger on their head like you're looking for a pulse. You have to know where they are at all time, and they cannot be idle. So I took that literally where Michael was concerned. My children went to summer school not because they went to summer school. They had to. They went to learn languages and computer science in the summer. So I wanted them to succeed, and I didn't know anything else. So I did it that way. They played outside, a lot of hockey, a lot of whatever they did outside, a lot of climbing the bluffs, a lot of poison ivy. They did it all. But it was so that they can succeed when they become an adult. This world we are in is even more difficult than when my children were younger. So those of you with young children, your job is to find out what it is they need to give them the edge. Everybody needs an edge. Whether they become an entrepreneur, whether they become a scientist, or whether they become a lawyer, a doctor, a candlestick maker, the point is you need to know that they're the best candlestick maker that is there. And you have to teach them how to finish a task. That to me is number one. Finish what you started. And they will do it by example. If they see you start something and you finish it, they will do it. You have to teach them not to quit. You have to bring them up with some faith and some belief. When they turn 18, you cannot tell them what to do anymore. You can advise them, and they still have a choice to take it or not. So that is why when your children graduate high school, the diploma belongs to you. Because really, you are the one that took them all the way to that. So you can actually take the diploma, don't give it to them, it's yours. And that's what I said to them, give me my diploma. So if you want a diploma, then high university or college is yours, you go find it. So that's the question. So if what you learn, I learned that as a young mom, you cannot stop. And the buck stops with you. They will not say, oh, it's Brian's children. They'll say, oh, Tessa-Marie couldn't make this children look better than that or try better. It's always the mom that gets that part of the story. So as a young mom, you do the best you can. And this thing about expecting the other partner to do half, there is no such thing. When it's your job to function, you give it 100%. And you cannot make somebody give 100%, because you have to remember one thing. If all they can give is a pint, you cannot expect to get a gallon from a pint. So that's what you guys didn't ask a few questions, and maybe I did too much of it. So that last question was really good. So that's the thing, Katniss said that. So that's one of the things that I know for sure. Oh yes, she literally told me it was 2-pack, whatever. It was swearing anyway. Yes, so that's the only thing I know for sure is what I just tell you. And it wasn't because I read a book. It was because I was always in the present. Always in the present moment, knowing what's going on in the school, knowing what you have to look at the demographics of the school, the demographics of the children in the school. You have to look how smart they are, what extracurricular activities they do. You cannot make your children stand out as a sore thumb. You have to let them have some of the things, that they should have. That others, like if they're born in Canada, they're Canadian, they should learn to skate. Because the saddest thing to see is for a school trip to a skating rink, and children are sitting, they have to come. They can't leave them in the school alone. So they bring them to the skating rink and they're sitting on the boards, on the bench, because they don't have a pair of skates. Or maybe they cannot skate and they cannot teach them to skate. They can always borrow a pair of skates from the skating rink or rent it, but they need. So there are some things you have to equip them with. You have to try to find a way to help them to learn to swim. It's a life-saving talent to have. So you make sure they can swim. Make sure the basic in Canada is learn to skate. Because it gives you so many nice things. It makes you feel so great when you're on the ice and you're skating, and you can put your skates on and go to City Hall and skate in the rinks, or go down to Harbourfront, or go down to the pond. There's the pond around the neighborhood that the pond just froze over and you can skate on it. So raising children is making sure they're well-rounded. You mightn't always succeed. I'm sure I could have done better, but I know I tried. I could have done better with certain, hi Yoko, done better with certain way of raising my children, but I gave them everything I had. Put all of me in it. And my husband did the same. If they were having a birthday party at the house and they wanted to invite 10 children and the other 10 boys couldn't come, we tell them no. Because how would you like to be that person that didn't get an invite? So you have to make a choice. Because if they have their party and they don't invite you, you're going to feel bad. Well, they didn't invite me the last time. I said, that's fine, but you don't have to be like them. You don't want them to feel how you feel. So that is, like Corinne said, you do the best you can. You just do the best you can. And you have to want to do the best you can. And remember, all what you instill in them, it comes up. All the good and wonderful and amazing things you do for them, it comes up. All the nice and lovely experiences they had at Christmas, it comes up. Because when they're adults, they're sick, they sit around and they're chatting when they're all together with cousins or stuff like that. And they remember and they talk about it and they laugh. And that this is what is going to sustain them when the time is tough in their life. Because we all will have different types of ups and downs, right? So you have to make sure that those memories that they're having will make them smile when they're 60. And I have a lot of those from my family, from my parents, so I smile. And I remember it, and sometimes we talk about it. So this is what you have to do. So I like what Corinne said, you do the best. And you have to just kind of know you're doing the best. Believe you're doing the best. And when all else fails, sit in silence and say, what do I do with this human being you told me to take care of? I don't know who you're talking to. And if it's God, you believe in, no, okay, so what next? What do I do? And you question that. You write it down 10,000 times on a piece of paper. What do I do? How do I manage that? You constantly ask that question. I don't know what to do. Show me how. And you have to say it with emotion and with love. But when you're touching, when you have a family and you have young kids, you have to show up. You have to know. When a teacher looks at your child's face, they see you. When that teacher sees that child, they have to know you are behind that child. I don't care who you are, how busy you are. That is what they have to know. Who stands behind you? Because if they don't know who stands behind you, they don't want to contribute, and it's just human nature. You can't, it's not their job. Their job is to educate them. And if they see that you are interested in what happens in their life, they're going to be more interested to help that child. And that's the best you can do, is show up. And that's a big thing for me. And that didn't mean if I got angry, I didn't take a chair and send it at them. And that didn't mean that. It was still legal to do that. Nowadays, everybody talks to their children, which is lovely. But sometimes you just cannot do this. And sometimes you send the slipper at the boy, it hit the girl. and she starts screaming. And your husband said, why did you hit her? And I just said, well, I was looking for a Canadian. I found a Canadian. And I walk away. And that's how I dealt with it. And he would just shake his head. And I said, I missed. I was aiming for Michael. I got Vanessa. I got Jillian. And that's how it went. And he just, whatever. One of these days, he would say, one of these days, they're going to throw you in jail. Well, they didn't. I was lucky. I mean, nowadays, you still can do what you have to do, but it's a different world. One thing I know, though, you have to teach them how to survive. You need to give them skills so they don't quit. They don't quit. When they, my kids were signing contracts at the age of 5. So if they wanted to join something, here's your contract. If I'm paying for 10 weeks, you're going for those 10 weeks. There is no way. I don't care if you can read and write. If the M looks like a W and the I looks like a C, I don't care. Sign this contract. You want to do this? Yes, I'll pay for it. But you have to honor the commitment you just made. You have to go for those 10 weeks. You don't have to do it after this 10-week period. But you must finish this. You start it, you must complete it. So my kids signed contracts from the time they went to school. And, that's just how it was. So anyway, guys, thank you for a wonderful evening. I talked until I couldn't talk anymore. I love this, and I'm so happy all of you who joined. Corinne, thank you. Yoko, Susie, Angela, Kathleen, Dawn, who else? Gavin. I can't remember. So thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And Yoko is there. I hope you guys enjoyed it because it was Ask a Question night, and you guys came. Oh, hello, Patrick. Did you just wake up? You. Yes, I'm glad you made some of it. I'm so happy, Yoko, that you can. Patrick, you too. And I'm happy that you guys asked the question. And do you like the haircut? Check that out. I had it cut. I'm back to normal. I had the barber come to my house. Really? I couldn't go. So I brought him in and it was so relieved just to cut it. So now I just can jump in and jump out. The boys just went to sleep. Oh, that's why. I'll have to give you a special. You must look at it, Patrick, because it has a lot of stuff that you would maybe remember in there. We were talking about the children when they were small. So my sister didn't like my hair, but it was a COVID hair. It was growing and I didn't know what to do with it. I've had my hair short for since 90 something, so anyway. And I prefer it like this. So I hope everybody like it. So Susie, do you love my hair, Susie? Isn't that cool? Thank you, Susie. So I hope you enjoyed it tonight, Susie. I know you have a 12-year-old and you will maybe never treat her like I treated my kids. I whoop them. So thank you everybody for joining me. And I am happy that we're here. So I'll see you guys on Monday morning. I will send out a morning mantra tomorrow. And let's see how the rest of the week goes. But enjoy yourselves. There's vaccine coming. We will get better one day. And when we get better one day, we'll enjoy it. So next Wednesday, I want to talk about money. Wednesday is money. Friday is Ask a Question. So you guys hear me talk a lot about a spending plan. I never talk about a budget. Because when I hear the words, I feel like somebody just put me in a straitjacket. And they're telling me, Tessa-Marie, you cannot buy that wine. It's just too expensive. I don't want to hear that. My cousin was on a budget once, and I said, we need to go to Roy Thompson Hall. They have this phenomenal speaker. And she just went, I'm on a budget. I told you I'm on a budget. And I go, whoa, that budget is just going to kill you, isn't it? So instead of calling it a budget, when I started doing my mentoring with people on finance, I call it a spending plan. So I'll teach you how to do a spending plan, aka budget, but we don't call it a budget. A budget is a harsh word. It's like being on a diet. The spending plan is something you create. So I'm going to talk about it on Wednesday. And if you have any questions, I'll ask questions about little things, any money question. That's Wednesday night. Friday night is any questions you want. So tonight was all about how I motivate myself. I motivate by when you succeed. I'm motivated by when you're laughing, you're enjoying yourself. What gives me the positive attitude? Being grateful, eternally grateful. Like when I close, I always say I'm so grateful for each and every one of you that came here today. I am grateful because you took time out of your life just to be here. And then about what advice you give to a young mom. And I told you what I did. So when the children were at school, I stood up for them. When they were stupid, I told them, you were fool to do this. Like Michael and the tape. I said, what was in your head? To put, the music, why would you take that chance? What are you thinking? So things like that. And if the teacher talk nonsense to me, I send you go to school and she want to talk to you about going to jail. She never did that again. Because I told Michael, the day they bring it up, you walk out because you're not going in there. There's no place for you. So, and of course, I didn't give them everything they wanted, but I let them know why. And don't lie to your children. Once you tell them lies, you're giving them permission to lie to you. And once everybody's lying to each other, you lose respect. And when you lose respect, love flies out the window. So you have to remember that. Once you lose respect, there is no more love. Respect and love don't mix. It's worse than oil and water. So sending you light and joy on this wonderful evening. Bye. Thank you guys for your visit tonight. Take your love, all of you, and I am so grateful. Bye.